Cracks and power. Mirio sitting angrily at his desk, his mentor and his crush were now captured by Deku. Awata came up to put her hand on Mirio's shoulder. It's fine, we are going to find them. Mirio sighed, I am hoping that Deku hasn't killed them already. Then Centipede came in with 2 boxes, one was green and the other is blue. We got a special delivery for you, Mirio. The 3 looked at the boxes, then the TV nearby turned on, hehehehe. The 3 turned to the TV to see Deku laughing. Mirio, my good lad, are you feeling a little? Izuku handled up Nejir's blue outfit, blue. Izuku started laughing his ass off. Mirio clenched his fist in anger, what did you bring me? Izuku paused, oh yeah, in these boxes you will find the locations of your crush and mentor. If you open one box the other is destroyed, if you open both of them at the same time then both boxes are destroyed. If Edgeshot helped you by using his quirk to peek in the boxes without opening them, they both get destroyed and Edgeshot will most like die from the explosion. Mirio looked at the boxes, if I save one, the other dies. Izuku clapped his hands, you catch on really quick, I like that. The blue box is the location of Najiri-chan while the green box is the location of Sir Night-Eye. Choose your poison. Then on the screen was Sir Night-Eye strapped to a chair surrounded by barrels of gas while another TV screen showed Najiri surrounded by barrels of gas as well. Mirio looked at Sir, which Sir looked at the camera to nod. Mirio nodded back to open the blue box to see a piece of paper with latitude and longitude. Then the green box started flaming up. Mirio ran out of the building punching in the numbers on his GPS to go to the location. Izuku. Izuku was sitting on his desk drinking some water. The clone of Najiri in that room is so amazing, but the original is right here. Izuku turned to see Najiri wearing a black and white maid outfit with a shock collar around her neck to keep her in line. I think I just found a new kink. Najiri frowned. He will get you one day and I'm going to be smiling when the day comes. Izuku smiling at her, you know, you look really lovely in that outfit. Get over here. Najiri stood in her place until the shock collar activated, which she moved close to Izuku. Izuku put his hand on her breasts. Mirio will never know what wonderful pillows these are. Then he grabbed her ass. I fucked you pretty hard and deep. No man besides me will ever satisfy you. You lost your virginity and anal virginity to me. Then Izuku put his hand on Nejir's belly, which Najiri looked away in sadness and shame. Izuku giggling, you also carry my child. Will they have my quirk, your quirk, or stronger version of your quirk? I don't know yet, I like surprises like this. I could use future sight on this one, but I like to be surprised. Izuku sat at his desk, get on your knees and wait for further instructions. Najiri felt some shock from the collar, which she quickly got on her knees. All of the heroines captured are forced to wear them. They are designed for each wearer. If they get out of line, disobey an order, hesitate to follow an order, assault their capturers, speaks without permission, or try to escape, they get shocked. The farther they are from their capturers or more they disobey them, the higher the voltage. Eri came in to jump on Izuku's lap. Papa, can I be with you? Izuku giggled, sure thing, are you getting lonely? Eri shook, no, just wanted to spend time with you. Eri looked at Najiri, Papa, what is she waiting for? Izuku chuckled, she is waiting for my orders. Eri looked at her outfit, she looks pretty. In the week of her capture, she learned that Eri is the little girl that lives with Izuku. Najiri convinced Eri to tell her story about herself and how she lived with Izuku. Najiri was in shock by what Overhaul did to her and how Izuku, or Papa as she calls him, has taken care of her and about her quirk training. Najiri was disgusted that Izuku makes her kill people with her quirk and he was basically making her a mini version of him. Najiri smiled, thank you, Eri-chan. Najiri notices that the collar didn't shock her, which indicates that she has permission to speak with Eri. Izuku smiling as Mirio entered the building to find Sir instead of Najiri. Izuku pushed a button on his keyboard. Mirio. Mirio then heard an explosion behind him, which the building across the street exploded. The radio next to Sir came on. Oops, I might have switched the two locations, my mistake. Mirio fell to his knees and started crying. Sir started tearing up because Deku took Mirio's love and Mirio was starting to break just like Yagi did. Sir never wanted Mirio to suffer like Yagi and Yagi's predecessors did when All for One was alive. The police and other heroes arrived to see what happened. Then they found the body of Najiri, or clone of Najiri, which they took it to be examined further. Sir then got free to help Mirio from fully losing his shit, and Tamaki was there to help Mirio. Izuku's base. There are a lot things that Mirko hated, like working in teams, being captured, raped, and giving birth to a monster's children. But being forced to dress up as a maid with a shock collar now has her at a whole new level of pissed off. The former inmates of Arkham were eating and playing games while Mirko, Yukio, Cow Lady, Ms. Joke, and Uwabami were walking around serving drinks, food, and other services. The base was a real circus and they were just a part of it. Uwabami was then called to head to the lab. She headed over there to see Scarecrow and May working on some machinery. May said, "Yes, Uwabami, can you locate a bug that crawled in this machine?" Uwabami was upset that they use her quirk to find people, rats, and bugs. She hates being in dirty place because she feels like she doesn't belong with filth. Uwabami used her quirk, then stuck her hand in the machine to grab a cockroach from inside the machine. Uwabami looked in disgust as she threw it away, which Scarecrow washed her hand. "Thanks again with your wonderful quirk." The thing she didn't understand was that Scarecrow treated her better than everyone else. After he raped her, he kept her close by, which she assumed that she was most likely carrying his child. Scarecrow actually has a crush on her. She is beautiful, popular, smarter than most people think, and her quirk is fascinating to him. May chuckled a bit while at work. This new machine, Earth Shaker, is going to be fun. Uwabami was still in the room because she hasn't been excused yet. What does it do? Scarecrow said, "It causes earthquakes at any magnitude at any location that we want." Uwabami asked, "What are you going to do with a machine like that?" The two giggled a bit before Scarecrow said, "You may leave and continue what you were doing." Uwabami left, which she headed to the common area, but on her way over she saw Shoto and his mother talking with a certain member of the League of Villains. She got interested in their conversion until Izuku turned on the announcement speakers. "Attention, hehe, I got an important announcement. We are going to a battle with our good friends to face the Liberation Army. Grab your weapons and head to the warping room." This was good. This meant only Toga, May, and a few others would stay behind. The heroines can take a break until they get back. The heroines headed to their room labeled, the Maid's Room, to come up with a plan to escape. The heroines closed the door behind them to begin a new plan to escape. Mirko growling, "I hate this fucking outfit." Yukio nodded, "I couldn't agree more, but right now we need to come up with ideas on how to escape." Ms. Joke pulled out a hand-drawn map that they all made. "Okay, so now that we found the exit, we need to figure out how to remove these cuffs and collars." Najiri said, "The collar and cuffs are made of a metal that only the government has, are nearly indestructible. We also need to figure out who is supplying Deku with these resources." Cow Lady pulled out a hammer to try to bang the cuffs off, but hammer flew out of her hand after the first hit. Uwabami sighed, "I think there might be a tool to help us, but..." Ms. Joke asked, "But what?" They headed to the lab to see Doc that is locked with a biometric security system. Uwabami said, "In there is a laser saw that can cut through anything." Yukio nodded, "That would be helpful, but I can only see that Scarecrow, Deku, Todoroki, and Brainiac are the only people allowed inside this lab. Outside the base of the Meta Liberation Army, Tamura with his men were looking at the city that their enemy has complete control over. Izuku stood next to him, "So this is what 110,000 people look like." I can wait to our victory over them. Tamura scratched his neck. They are a pain. Tell me, how long did you sensei's quirk for? Izuku smiling at the city. Apparently all my life, but I didn't know until the moment before he died. I must destroy one for all before it destroys me, but something tells me that one for all will survive but it will not destroy me. Tamura asked, can you see the future like sensei? Izuku nodded. Only pieces that I must put together myself thanks to a quirk. This battle will be a victory to us. Tamura giggled. Good, sensei saw his death, do you see yours? Izuku giggling. I live to be an old man in my 2000s. Izuku became a ball of liquid metal that rolled down to the city to enter the city's power grid and sewage system. Izuku started expanding to cover the wires of power lines and getting into every pipe in the water and sewage system of the city. He giggled, as I expected of the combination of liquid metal, several regeneration quirks, multiplier, electricity manipulation, and pretty soon all for one. Everyone on the hills could see Izuku slowly start cover the entire city. Tamura asks, what is he doing? Shinso smirked. He wants to test out a powerful quirk combination. Nito chuckled. This is going to be interesting. Then in a blink of an eye, several people in the city were covered by Izuku's metal and screaming in pain. Izuku started glowing and laughing. I can feel it. 100,000 quirk flowing into my body. The other over 10,000 will have nothing on me. No, the world will have nothing on me. I will become the strongest villain that has ever lived. Ha ha ha. Then the glowing stopped, and all of the liquid metal went back to Izuku, which Izuku was wearing his outfit but all white and his hair was white. Izuku looked at a reflection of himself on a store window. Hee hee, I look godlike, a god of evil. No one will stop me in my now over 100,000 quirks. Emperor Deku. If you all have read anything on Emperor Joker, then this is the beginning of Emperor Deku. Will he kill the entire population of China then eat their skulls out of a box and made a racist pun? Nah, I got something better inspired by that scene. Is this a mindless tribute? Yes and no. Basically this is supposed to be inspired by Emperor Joker, but at the same time mindless Izuku did take 1,000 quirks to become God. I personally believe that this Izuku can beat mindless Izuku. Don't snitch on me and tell mysterious banana. Let's go. Izuku then saw his eyes turn gray, then he blinked to then appear in dark room with glowing orbs of multiple colors with many voices from them. Then a figure appears holding a torch with a red flame. Izuku looked at the figure then recognized him. Do I call you Dad or Sensei? Komatsu Akikazu. Akikazu chuckled a little bit. You can call me whatever you like, don't drop your torch. Izuku looked to see a green flaming torch in his hand. Where am I? Akikazu spread his arm out. We are in your mind. You took some many quirks to wear all for one mutated. You can access the past knowledge of the previous all for one users, which is just me at the moment. See the quirks you took, and I help you with managing them. Izuku looked around. I'm very graceful of you helping me managing over 100,000 quirks that are flowing in my body. But what is the most quirks I can hold? Akikazu shrugged. I don't know, I never found a limit. I never had this many quirks before. The most I had was 500 quirks at one point. All Might punch me so hard that not only made my healing weaken and got me closer to death, but it literally punched some quirks right out of me. Izuku started giggling. No known limit on the amount of quirks I can hold, that perfect. Outside Izuku's mind. Izuku returned to the world to warp to everyone, which Izuku's followers bowed to him. Tamura and the rest of the league were in awe by his power. Izuku used his fingers to make a finger handgun at the city. Bang! Then an explosion in the center of the city appeared, which Tamura looked at it. What happened down there? Izuku chuckled. My dear friend, this is what over 100,000 quirks looks like. There are still a little over 10,000 of their men with quirks, but we have 15,000 men. Tamura looked at his group, which consists of Dabi, spinner, compress, moonfish, muscular, magna, twice, and a few namas. Tamura then ran down with his group following behind him to the city to fight. Izuku nodded which Shoto, Sato, Scarecrow, Abara, Man-Bat, Killer Croc, Nito, and the inmates from Arkham went to attack the city as well. Izuku was then in his mind listening to the quirks revealing their names and what they do at fast speeds, and thanks to a quirk called Perfect Memory, he can remember each and every one of the quirks. Izuku smiling at some quirks, disappointed in some quirks, then smiled at quirks that make the disappointed quirks useful. He had multiple intelligence-enhancing quirks, speed quirks, reality-manipulating quirks, time-manipulating quirks, elemental quirks, and so much more. Izuku then raised his hands in the air to create a lightning storm on the city to destroy building and enemies. Then Izuku heard Tomura's voice from far away, which he warped to his location to find Tomura fighting the leader of the metas himself, Redistro. Izuku decided to look into Tomura's memories to see Tomura's backstory for the fun of it. Izuku then saw in all, Tomura's father punishing him for wanting to be a hero, Tomura's sister revealing Tomura a picture of their grandma Nana Shimura, and when Tomura's quirk activated as he killed his entire family, how Tomura met all for one Akikazu and his beginning of his goal. Izuku smiling, you share a similar pain, unleash you full power. Tomura then touched the ground to cause the ground to shake and be destroyed around him and Redistro. Redistro got bigger, you know, I'm a patient man, Tomura. What is it that you truly want from society? Tomura smiling, I want to destroy it, destroy all, and to bring the world terror. Akikazu in Izuku's head, I've given him the affirmation he needed at the time. The Seeker of Destruction, the world's symbol of terror. Izuku said, Tomura, Tomorn, Shigaraki is your first and real last name, isn't it, Dad? Akikazu chuckled, you are truly smart, over the years I have changed my name multiple times. Your mother knew me as Komatsu Akikazu and I knew that you would mutate all for one cause this. Which is why in my letter I didn't reveal my real name. I will reveal my real full name when I see you fit for it. Tomura grabbed the hand of his real father off of his face, I don't need any of this shit. Tomura destroyed the hand which Akikazu giggled, there he goes, he is going to do. Izuku saw how even with just 2 fingers on Tomura's only arm left can still activate his quirk. Izuku then came down to Tomura to grab Redistro's arm from making contact with Tomura. Redistro smiling, Deku, perfect. I can now take both of you down. Izuku got bigger to overpower Redistro, no. You were mistaken, thanks to the 100,000 quirks I took from your army, you are nothing. Izuku shot a piece of liquid from his back at Tomura which fully healed Tomura to full health and energy. Izuku smirked, finish him, brother. Tomura ran on Izuku's back to land on Redistro and touching Redistro's face, now die. Redistro started decaying then died, which Tomura and Izuku looked around to see the destruction of the MLA, which Izuku smiling, what a glorious day, don't you think? Tomura smiling back, indeed, this what I always wanted, it feels good. You know your real last name. Izuku nodded, which the two watched the fall of the army, Izuku smiling as he warped his army back to his base, I'm going to declare a war. Tomura smiling, a war against who? Izuku looking at the sky, the world. 2 weeks later. Everyone in the world was going about their day, some good and some bad, until a TV across the world was hijacked. The screens revealed Izuku sitting on a throne made of skulls, hello world, I am Emperor Deku. I'm making this broadcast to tell you all some good news, I solved the problem in Africa. The camera zoomed out to show mountains of bodies piled high, which Izuku laughing, by killed every human being in the entire continent of Africa. There is no more starvation. No wars. No disease. No economic problems. We have no more starving children in Africa because there are no living children in Africa to feed. Izuku picked up a body of a dead Africa boy. Hey Tyrone, are you hungry? Izuku put his hand on the boy's mouth to make it move and say, no Emperor Deku. I'm perfectly full, health, not forced into wars, and I'm happy. Thank you, Emperor Deku. Izuku then ate the body thanks to a few quirks. Then Doomsday stood behind him. That was finger-lickin' good. Izuku then got up on his feet. Remember kids to just smile. Izuku smiled big, then he used his quirks to turn off the TVs across the world. Shoto appeared. All 1.3 billion people are successfully killed. Izuku looked in his head. Now armed with more quirks than anyone will ever know, and you with the rest of the Injustice League upgraded, we will defeat a 7-nation army with ease. They warped back to the base, which has gotten bigger in the last 2 weeks because Izuku was getting more recruits and prisoners. Izuku loved to test out quirks that he stole. He only takes quirks that he himself find interesting. He looked at the map of Tokyo, ready for a battle with the entire world with the world's finest heroes. Izuku want to fight and steal the best quirks in the world to bring the world to its knees. Mirio. Mirio saw the broadcast in horror by what Izuku did, and the reports coming from Africa proves that Izuku actually killed everyone in Africa. Sir Night-Eye in horror, I don't know how many quirks he has, but I know that you cannot defeat him. Mirio relied, not alone, maybe with every hero in Japan, and the best heroes of every country can possibly defeat him. Sir shouted, did you not see or hear that he just killed 1.3 billion people? He wants us to do that. Mirio in confusion, what? Sir sighed, he wants a war with the world, and the world is going to play into his hand. He is going to defeat the best heroes of the remaining 143 countries in the world. Mirio asked, how? Sir looked at him, if he can kill everyone in Africa in the 2 weeks of his disappearance, then let us say that each country sends their best 20 heroes to fight Deku. That's only 2,860 pro heroes, because Edgeshot and Best Jeanist are no way strong enough to defeat Deku. Mirio calmed down then in worry, how quirks do you think he has now? Sir frightened, a lot, too many quirks, but how does he adapt to them so quickly? Mirio and Sir were brainstorming until Mirio left to go to his desk to look out at the city, then he went into a deep state in his mind. The first user of One for All said, my nephew is too powerful, Yagi killed my brother, which was our original goal. But my nephew is not like my brother, he is worst. The past users were talking, Nana in anger, your nephew brought me back from the dead to rape me then kill me in front of my successor. Mirio sighed, do any of you know how Izuku could be adapting to new quirks so quickly? The users brainstormed ideas until the 7th one said, you know how One for All mutated after you got it, what if All for One mutated as well? They looked at him, which Mirio asked, is that even possible? The first user said, if One for All mutated then All for One can mutate. My brother never had more than 500 quirks, what if my nephew absorbed so many quirks to where it caused this mutation? Mirio nodded, the mutation caused physical changes to him, but how can we defeat him? Nana smirked, same way we defeat All for One, we pass the quirk on and each user gets it stronger, then they pass it on. Then soon enough it will be strong enough to defeat him. Mirio asked, what if I give someone One for All now? The fourth said, they will work on getting it stronger than what you have. Mirio asked, what if I give it to someone then they give to someone else 2 seconds later? Nana sighed, without any work then the second has the same power as the first person. Mirio nodded, just checking on that theory. The first said, find someone you believe is worth for the quirk to help it expand its power. Mirio woke up, then he thought about people he can trust One for All to then he thought about Bakugo. Bakugo may have took a huge part of creating Deku, but he was trying to do something about it. Mirio nodded, I found my successor for my quirk, but he will not defeat Deku. Ooh. Midnight was in a lot of strange places in her life, but being the principal of UA was now a new level of strange. A rated R hero running a school was something no one expects to be real. The very idea could be a good hentai plot. Midnight was in charge of preparing the next generation of heroes to face a new world of villains, more specifically Deku. As she was doing paperwork, she suddenly had a strange feeling of sexual desires. Her hands started moving on their own as she began masturbating. Moan what is going, moan on. Then a pair of hands grabbed her breast, which Izuku smiling, like the new quirk, it's called lustful aura. The quirk original made anyone 10 feet near me very lustful. But add another quirk called emitter amplifier and multiplier, I made the entire school lustful. Midnight looked at the cameras of the school on her computer to see the school turned into a giant orgy. Izuku chuckled, I can't wait to broadcast this to the entire world, this will be the end of UA and many hero schools to follow. Izuku then whipped out his dick, then made it huge. Midnight meet 18 inches of evil. Midnight looking at him with lust, it won't fit. Izuku threw her on the floor, if it can fit Najiri-chan before she died, then it will fit you. Then Izuku sat on the chair. Midnight was on her knees crawling to Izuku. Izuku slapped his dick on Midnight's face while he was on her computer finding the location of Aizawa, Bakugo, and a student that didn't show up to school. Izuku then pulled a picture of a girl with brown hair and brown eyes. Uraraka Ochako, you are not here today. I wonder it's because of. Izuku found pictures of the two together as a secret couple, Kaken's secret girlfriend, he, ha 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 ha. Izuku threw Midnight around. Midnight in lust, yes. Fuck me, you bad little Shota. Izuku laughing, that's the spirit. Izuku then entered as much of his dick in her as possible, then started using a speed quirk to fuck her fast and hard. Then Izuku stopped to use a vibration quirk on her, cause her to lose her mind. Izuku then put a shock collar on her, and then as the men of the school were tired out by the amount sex they were having, Izuku's men went to kill the men and take the women as slaves. I feel like this would be a nice hentai doujinish of villain Deku. Izuku then continued to rape Midnight as the girls were hauled off and the men being slaughtered, and the school being burned down. Izuku then asked, who are you? Midnight shouted, your slave, your cock sleeve, and your bitch. Izuku smiling, you goddamn right. Then Izuku impregnant her, then warped her and him to her cell. Author's notes. Next chapter will be about Izuku's campaign of Africa, why kill everyone in Africa, how he did it without the world knowing, and quirks he stolen. I'm not going to pull something out of my ass for the heroes to use to stop Izuku. Izuku actually has a reason for kidnapping women for more than just entertainment. I may not be a fan of Bakugo Uraraka, but I might as well give Bakugo someone he will do anything to protect from Izuku. Let me know if this is getting too rapey. Also sorry about killing every man in UA. Ciao bitches. A new player arrives. The day after the fall of the MLA. Izuku was sitting at his desk drawing future plans, then he looked to Africa on a map smiling, I think I take a little vacation. Izuku called Shoto, Mei, Scarecrow, Killer Croc, Man Bat, Abara, Koda, Nito, Shinso, and Sato to reveal his new plan. Mei in curiousness after Izuku's plans, I get to test out the Earth Shaker, but what if the world notices our genocide to the continent? Izuku smiling, I know you can take control of the communicates and transport systems, keeping people from entering and leaving the continent. Mei nodded, I can do that. Shoto smirking, you want me, Mom, and a few other people to go to North Africa to give them ice and fire. Abara liked that she is going to the Congo for her attack, while Koda loved that he was going to the savannah to use the wildlife. Scarecrow went to get packing with Killer Croc and Man Bat because the three were going to South Africa. Sato was going to go to East Africa for some pirate hunting and fighting the strongest hero of Africa, Rhino Man, while Izuku was going to a secluded part of Africa. Izuku pointed at the Ivory Coast on the map. This is mine and mine alone. They all nodded. Then Izuku went to his wardrobe to grab a white and gold suit, shoes, top hat, and a white cane with a gold head that looks like his head. Izuku turned to see Toga to smile. I'll be back in a while, I got a business trip. Toga kissed his cheek. I'll be waiting. Izuku chuckled. I'll make it quick. Najiri was standing in the corner of the room. She hasn't been so afraid in a long time. She didn't fear Izuku when she first got captured because there was a chance he could be defeated, but now Izuku is a literal god. The aura coming off of Izuku makes her shake in fear. Then Izuku left. Then Toga went up to her. Time to check the little ones. Najiri went with Toga. Even if Toga loves to drink blood, especially Nejir's blood, Najiri chooses to get her blood sucked out of her than be in the same room with Izuku alone. Izuku looked through his quirks to create the ultimate combination to destroy Mirio and hopefully one for all. Doomsday is designed to defeat anyone, but it needs to evolve to the point where no one could hurt it. May on her computer, it is done. I'm control the satellites that watch and connect with everything in Africa. Africa. In Egypt, the streets were busy as usual and people visiting the pyramids in awe by the structures. All was well until it started snowing. The locals were in fear because it's snowing in the desert. Then a blizzard appeared with sub-zero winds that froze everyone in place in blocks of ice. Shoto and Rei were on top of the tallest pyramid, which Shoto grunted, the fear the cold before they died. Rei hugged him. They just don't know about the pain from the fire. Ice is quicker and painless. Then in South Africa, Scarecrow released a mass production of fear gas leading people to mass suicide. Scarecrow looked at the tallest building in Cape Town while controlling the gas. This is too easy. Everyone is worried about carbon emission that they wouldn't notice my glass filling the atmosphere. He then called Killer Croc and Man Bat to see how they were doing on their mission. He called them by phone. Man Bat picked up. We have taken over the mines. The uranium is being collected, but we stumbled across a special metal. North metal. Scarecrow raised an eyebrow. Take it, I will process it when we return to Japan. Izuku. Izuku already brought dangerous flooding, hurricanes, and fires to all of the coast, but he was now deeper in the area to find a temple. Izuku entered the temple to see a prisoner he helped escape from Arkham and another person he is looking for. Ra's al Ghul was fighting Aizawa, but this time Aizawa was using a katana and armed with other stuff. Izuku could obviously see that Ra had more skill and just better than Aizawa. He sat down to watch the fight. Izuku was deep in his mind. Aizawa will be the perfect subject to our new drug and he will take care of Kachan for me. The two weren't aware of his presence because one of Izuku's many quirks masks his presence from everyone. Not a lot of people might value this quirk, but Izuku does. No one can feel the presence of evil until it's too late, which the quirk perfectly suits him. Ra kicked Aizawa to the ground. You can never beat me, my rules are freer than yours. I have been alive and quirkless for so long, our skills are as different as night and day. Aizawa smirked. I know. Aizawa threw a throwing star and actually got Ra's hand. Ra pulled it and looked to see Aizawa tackled him to the ground. Ra kicked him off. Are my eyes deceiving me? Is that my student IMC? Aizawa was getting annoyed as he got up to try one more time to attack. Ra dodged Aizawa's charge. But Aizawa wasn't aiming for Ra, he was aiming for the pillar to jump off of. Aizawa bounced off the pillar to kick Ra's face. Ra spat out so blood. That was the first drop of blood you made me bleed in your life. But sadly, this is our last meeting. Aizawa raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? A giant snake wrapped around him, holding him tight and not letting him go. The snake giggled. Hello, Shota Aizawa. Aizawa in shock as the snake's head turned into Izuku's upper body. You like one of my many quirks? Over 100,000 is pretty amazing. Man, I wonder what young me would think about having this many quirks. Aizawa grunting, trying to escape. If you want to kill me, then do it. Izuku laughed. Kill you? No. I got something better. Izuku revealed a syringe, then injected it in Aizawa. Aizawa screamed in pain as the fluid flowed through his body. Izuku let him go and watched as Aizawa went from screaming in pain to laughing madly. Aizawa then looked at Izuku with red eyes and a big smile on his face. Izuku giggled, "Bend the knee." Aizawa bended the knee and Izuku returned Aizawa's original quirk, gave him a regeneration quirk. Izuku with his arms up, "Rise. The eraser who laughs. You will return to Japan to bring chaos to the street that you once protected and bring no mercy to the enemies of evil and chaos." Aizawa got up and giggled, "I will, my lord." Izuku opened a portal. "On the other side you will find everything you need to begin our crusade." Aizawa walked into the portal smiling. Ra saw Aizawa leave in the portal. "I guess you will leave." Izuku smirked. "The entire continent will be yours, you will be the only inhabitant in Africa. Perfect to start your new school of assassins, I wish you well." Izuku then disappeared in a blink of an eye, which Ra sighed as he was left alone in the temple. Present day. Mirio, Tamaki, Tsunade, the pro-heroes not killed or kidnapped, and the police were with the military to find Deku and take him down. Mirio looked at the pictures being released from Africa of all the dead bodies. Men, women, children, and babies in piles, and were brutally killed or ate by the animals nearby. Then the pictures of what happened to Ua when he came for a visit. Deku proved to the world that he was capable of wiping out the population of entire continents, which the UN sent troops to Japan to find and hopefully take down Deku. Mirio was still angry that Deku took the love of his life and was hoping she was alright. Then he heard people outside panicking, which he jumped out the window to see what was going on. He landed out to see a spiral of blue lightning. He and everyone was terrified by the development, but Mirio was ready to fight this villain. The spiral revealed a kid the same age as the first years at Ua. The kid had green spiky hair, red eyes, and a suit similar to Bakugo's old outfit with a mixture of Mirio's suit. The kid was kneeling down when the spiral disappeared. He looked up to Mirio. "What is the date?" Mirio looked at the kid in confusion. "Redacted." The kid nodded. "That bastard is in his early stage, I still have time to stop him." Tsunade asked, "Who are you?" The kid replied, "I don't need to answer a dead man, I need to find Big Bro, I mean Katsuki Bakugo. Also known as Red Hood." The kid started walking away. Mirio grabbed his shoulder, which the kid was covered in green sparks, to grab Mirio's arm. "I advise you to let go, before you get hurt." Mirio replied, "Are you threatening to assault an on-duty hero?" The kid replied, "Look Mirio, I mean sir, I don't have time to answer your shitty questions." Mirio saw the sparks and saw it was similar to one for all to his body. Mirio was not letting this kid walk away easily. Mirio raised an eyebrow. "How do you know my name?" The kid stared at him. "Last chance bud." Mirio thought to himself, "This kid reminds me of Bakugo." Wait, he did call him Big Bro. Are they related? Mirio smiled. "What if I took you to Bakugo?" The kid's vein popped out his head. "Where is he?" Mirio replied, "What is your name first of all?" The kid sighed angrily. "Izuki." They heard a laugh, which they turned to see a black-haired man in a black suit like Eraserheads but with spiky googles, and was holding on chains. The ends of the chains revealed monster teens. Mirio took a closer look to see they were Shiro, Kirishima, Denki, and Iida, but they were different. Kirishima had wild eyes and pointy ears. Shiro had sharp teeth like Kirishima's, crazy eyes, and pointy ears as well. Denki had the sharp teeth, but he had black hair with blonde tips, and then Iida had pipes coming out of his arms like his legs and growled like a wolf. Mirio in shock, "But you four are dead, who are you?" The man was laughing. "Oh Mirio, it's nice to see you are doing well." Izuki got in a battle stance. "The eraser who laughs, this is your first appears." Eraser smiling at the Izuki, "Have we met before?" Izuki smirked. "Not yet, but you are already a pain in the ass for me." Izuki was covered in sparks and small explosions came off his hands. Mirio could see that this kid has to be related to Bakugo, but Bakugo doesn't have a brother. Eraser smiling. Well, I guess it's time to play.